welcome to the A Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph and this video is going to be the whips that I'm bringing into 2023, and basically it's a list of the projects I need to finish. Although I am in love with pretty much all of them, so spoiler alert, this isn't going to be one of those frog it or not frog it. I kind of already did that, and these are the ones I want to make, although I do have some thoughts on some of them. This is probably the most whips that I've ever had going into a new year, and I really need to tone it down. I'm gonna do another video with my 2023 crafting goals, and so I'm not gonna go so much into my goals in this video, but it's safe to say one of those goals is to really decrease the amount of ongoing and frankly lingering projects. I have, for the most part, everything that's on the needle has only been on the needle like less than 5 years, but maybe that seems dramatic. I think it's okay, but you know what? Let's just go get into it. The first thing I'll touch on is a blanket. When I was kind of compiling this list, I made stock of the 3 blankets that I had going, and one I was very much close to being finished with it, and then another one I just wasn't loving, and then the other one is the one I'm going to talk about. This is kind of a forever project. It's in this basket that I got at Aldi, and Aldi carries this brand called Huntington brand. It is a cotton rope basket. I don't know, did I $10, $15? I don't think I spent more than 20, but I have a couple of these like really big baskets, and I get them from Aldi and Target. Aldi is definitely a lot cheaper than Target, but anyway, this is what I've been keeping my blankets in. So the main blanket that is still active that I love and I will not be frogging is the Nor'easterly blanket. And it looks like this, and as you can tell, I just got lipstick on it. I love like deep brown lipsticks, but man, if you get it on anything, can't hide it. So this is the Nor'easterly blanket by Skaenanigans. And you can kind of see I am not weaving my ends as I go. Well, I sort of am. I'm carrying them. But this is not a scrappy blanket. You can definitely knit this as a scrappy blanket. Scrappy is not for me. Scrappy has never been for me. As much as the knitting community is making it a thing the last 10 years, I cannot. I need order, I need cohesion. Scrappy just looks like a mess. I just don't like it. I don't like it. But I wanted to make this blanket. So I'm organizing it. I have Caron Simply Soft, and then I have a baby yarn, Bernat Baby Sport. So the Caron Simply Soft is a bit thicker than the gray, and I notice it as I'm knitting, but in a blanket, I don't think you're gonna really notice that too much. I do 20 rows, I think, 20 garter bumps of each color before switching. And I am using whatever this needle is. I don't love it. It is one of the U knits that I got in college, and it is a US 3.25. I messed up here, and you can kind of very much see. I keep thinking, should I go back and undo it? No, because I think once I connect the sides, it'll pull and you won't really notice it. This is a very simple pattern, but I make mistakes constantly with that center piece. I have a stitch marker in the middle so that I remember where this piece is. The Caron colors that I'm doing, I've got Persimmon, Blue Mint, Bone, and then a color I haven't used yet, but it will be next, is Limelight. So I've got another gray and then the green Limelight to do. And then I think I will do another gray, and then maybe that will be the length. It's just, I don't know, like I could do more repeats, but then in my head I would want to do double, which honestly maybe I should do double. Because right now you can kind of see it's not my wingspan. And I think once I add the green and the gray and the rest of the gray, I still don't think it'll be a full arm's length. I'm 5'7", and so it would be like a lap blanket, but honestly I don't want a lap blanket. I want, like, my lap blankets are big blankets. So I'm just talking to myself about this. I will probably double the pattern, and then for the next strip, I'll offset. So I'll start with the coral, gray, brown or tan, gray, blue, right? So it'll kind of extend. So I'm either gonna do that, or I will keep the gray where it is and then just adjust the colors down. No, I don't think I'm gonna do that, because then it'll look like a block. Whereas this will just be, yeah, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Lots of thinking here. So again, it's the Nor'easterly. It's a lot of fun. Skaananigan has several blankets that are kind of patchworky like this, but you know, you can make them cohesive, you can make them organized. Oh, and then the gray, like I said, is this Bernat Baby. I'm hoping I'm not gonna run out. This has, how much in here? It's 300 grams, about a little over 1,000 yards. So I'm thinking I should be totally fine to make a blanket with all of this. Next, we'll move into the sweater garments that I currently have on the needle. And I'm no particular order. This guy is in my Fringe Supply Co. Forget what this one was called, but this is a little bit bigger than the field bag, and it had the straps. It does have the wax canvas, and I bought this when they went out, or when they went out of business. And inside is my All the Lights by Joji Locatelli. I'm not frogging this. This is a project of love, and I know I'm gonna love it. It does take dedication and thought. It is an all over cable sweater. I mean, it looks, oh, I love the way it looks already. I started this pretty much, was it the end of 2020? It might have been at the end of 2020. It was still when the pandemic was very much top of mind, and I wasn't going anywhere, and this was, you know, a happy thing to do. I purchased the yarn as a sweater quantity at, I think, Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus, which would have been in 2019. And it is, I should have the ball bands. Yeah, it is the Fiber Seed Sprout DK in the rustic colorway. And I think I had like buy 6 get 1 free, or buy 5 get 1 free. So I did get a bit of a deal. And yeah, I mean, I've made something. You know, I'm getting somewhere. And I think it's just going to be really, really pretty. I have wanted to make this cardigan ever since it came out many, many years ago. And I bought the yarn with the intention of making this cardigan. And I think this is something I would wear a ton. I love big knit oversized cardigans. I have several from Target. I have, my oldest one is from the outlet store for the Loft, and I bought it in New York, I think 2014 Valentine, like 2014 February. That thing is so like matted because I have worn it so much. Like it is not matted, it's felted. Let's be nice to our hand knits, or not hand knits, but knitted item. It is felted. It is super felted. There are pills all over it, but I love it so much. I love it so much. I bought a replacement a year ago from Target. I don't love it as much. So I keep wearing this felted sweater cardigan from Loft. I need to replace it. I just need to make my own, but I love it so much. So this is gonna look nothing like it because that one is gray and this is, you know, a nude speckled or a yellow toned nude with brown speckles with a ton of cables, but I think the vibe is the same. This, definitely not frogging. I'm very excited to get back to it. I just know that this takes thought, and I can't watch K-drama when I'm knitting on this. I can't watch soccer when I'm knitting on this. Yeah, I can't really watch anything that has a lot of thought. So I can listen to podcasts while I knit this. I don't like to knit on this with other people around because I am referring back to a pattern constantly. So it is just, you know, a labor intensive project. And that's really why, you know, I don't just pick it up and go. I like to know that I have time to dedicate to knitting when working on this. Another sweater that is basically popping out of my Fringe Field bag that I bought at the Le Bien-Aimé store in 2019. I love this guy. I love my pin. I say it every time. This yellow reminds me of Russell from Up, which is why I have the Ellie badge on it. Oh, so cute. This has 2 Knit Picks yarns. Well, they're the same, but they're just 2 different colors. It is the Daydream DK Weight, which was a limited edition blown yarn. Yeah, it's a blown yarn in the Rose Quartz and the Pewter colorway. And this is my Missoni Accomplished, which is no longer on needles because I needed said needles, and I had stopped right at the first color work. Missoni Accomplished is a free pattern by Espace Tricot, and it's got the kind of V stripes or zigzag stripes, which I think Missoni, the brand, is well known for. So I started this very soon after I had knit my second Any Day sweater, which is by Lily Kate France, which she had on sale on one day during Christmas, and I was super excited even though I already own it, but yes. So I started the sweater because I love those sweaters so much, and this is a similar yarn, but it's DK instead of worsted. And so my thought is I'm gonna love this sweater just as much. Now, why have I not continued? Because it is a breeze to knit through? Well, it's because of color work. So I've been wanting to figure out a better way to hold my floats because I am such a loose knitter. I don't know of anyone that knits looser than I do. I knit so unbelievably loose, but that doesn't translate with my floats. And I'm not really sure why or really how to fix it. I've tried. I prefer to have all my stitches scrunched up on the needle when I'm knitting so that I don't have to slide them. And I think that's the problem, is because when you've got let's say you've got 10 stitches here, but on the fabric, they would be here, jumbo stitches. You catch my drift, right? I'm like holding or carrying my yarn here rather than here because my stitches are taking up this much space. So in order to get the right length, I need to spread my stitches out and then carry the yarn to use it next. And it just doesn't work. So I need to watch videos. I need to figure out a better way of catching my floats. I have tried, so typically when I catch floats, I catch every 3 stitches and it's still like too tight. And so then someone was saying that they don't catch their floats at all. So that's what I started to do. And I don't think it's going to work at all. I don't think it's going to work at all. There's going to be no give in that sweater. It's going to pucker, insanely. So I stopped. And then I listened to Inga of, Knitting Traditions. And she said she catches every float like after every stitch, and I thought maybe that could work, but it ends up just being like a really tight coil on the back of my knitting fabric because I just tested this with fingerless mittens and I didn't like it. So clearly I've tried a lot of things. I want to try and do this method that I have seen on store-bought colorwork clothes. I don't know how they do it, but I'm thinking maybe this will help. And it's almost where they let all of it dangle on the back, but then they like crochet up or something. I don't know if it's crochet. It looks like crochet. Basically like one stitch in the back, but it's like in the middle of a whole bunch of strands of yarn, which I don't know if I could really accomplish that the same way that you could with crocheting up or whatever, but I'm not sure. So if you have ideas of how best to catch floats without it being a pain in the butt, because I'm a thrower, so I think maybe that is also my issue. I don't love, I can never remember what's the difference between continental and English, because honestly, frankly, I don't care like I know what the difference is, like one's in the right, one's in the left, but basically when I knit, I hold my working yarn in my right hand and not my left. Unless I'm doing color work, then I hold both of them in my left, or one in my left, one in my right. If I'm doing 3, then I'm holding 2 in my left, 1 in my, I don't understand why, but it works out better for me. So Missoni accomplished. I love, like, I know I'm gonna love this sweater, but the color work, I think this would just be the perfect sweater to experiment on how to do my color work the best, because it is big blobs of strands of yarn that I need to catch. That makes so much sense. That is eloquently put. Next up is the Mila sweater. This was a test knit, and I knit a full sleeve, calculated everything, sent it to Whimsy North, who is the designer. And I talked about this before. I just didn't like it. The dimensions were correct. And I have larger arms. I just have, I don't know, like, I guess my arms are just larger. I think too, I just don't like tight sleeves. I don't like it when they're attacking my armpits. It makes me start sweating more, and I don't like that. And then there's just like a big wet bleh under my arms. I don't love it. So yeah, I redid, okay, now I can't even remember. Did I redo one of the sleeves or two or both of them? I can't remember. So I have blocked this, and that is the back. I have blocked it. Maybe I can figure out by looking at the needles. I can't remember. This was a frenzy. I think the body is okay. It is a smidge short, but I've kind of talked about this sweater and how expensive this was to test it, because she wanted you to get fingering weight yarn, and what she got was Knit Picks palette, which should include me in that. It doesn't have the same properties as a standard fingering held double, which is what she did. So the fabric is just pretty tight. I ended up having to, so I did a swatch, and I did a swatch of this section here, and the fabric was okay, but then the more I was wearing it or like knitting with it, the more I hated it. I was piercing into my thumb over and over and over, to the point where I had to wear like a Band-Aid × 2 on my thumb to try and get the needles to stop piercing into my skin. And really it's because there's so many stitches so tightly that it was like, you know, really pushing it, shoving it. So like, I love the design. I know I'm talking pretty negatively. I love the design, right? Like, it's adorable. The color is so cute. The sweater is so cute. It is just, it's so heavy. This thing is so unbelievably heavy for it being, you know, a cropped sweater with cropped sleeves, which I don't love. So I have a love-hate relationship with this. I want the sweater, but I just don't know that I'm gonna love wearing it, because it's so heavy, it's so dense. I already know I'm redoing the sleeves. I want them longer, I want them wider. I'm not gonna I wouldn't redo the body. And I have tried it on. It fits. Have I tried it on? Shoot. I think I've tried it on. And I think it's okay. Now I'm gonna have to try it on again. So, yeah. Each of these colors was a full skein of a hand-dyed yarn. So, you know, you do the math. There's 2 of the body, which I actually think I had to buy 3 of the body, and I'm kind of hoping I won't break into the 3rd, but you never know. So that's 3 of the body, and then I think 6 contrasting colors. And I think this is the size 2, right? You can do the math. That's a lot of money for a cropped sweater. A lot of money for a cropped sweater. So I don't know. I wanna finish it. I wanna take pictures because it would be so cute. But I need to double check if this is the sleeve that I reknit. I don't know, it kind of feels like the sleeve I reknit, but then again, it might not be the sleeve I reknit. I'll have to see. I'm looking at the stitches. I don't know, they look the exact same. Did I? Yeah, okay, so I need to reknit this because the stitch pattern is something that I'm gonna have to mess with, because I'm gonna add stitches, and my size, the 2, fit perfectly. So the other sizes had additional stitches, but even then I don't think they had that many. I think it was like maybe 2 additional stitches. So yeah, I don't know, right? Like, this is gonna take some thought, and it's probably not gonna be top of mind because I am just a bit frustrated with this. So yeah, it's gorgeous, but it does make me a bit sad when I look at it, because I struggled so much with the just knitting it, to be honest. The tension, all of that. Frankly, I don't remember what all of the yarns were, but I do know that the main color is Ex Libris in Renfield. I'm pretty sure that's one. Wait, is it called Renfield? Oh my gosh, now I don't know. I think so. I should have written it all down, but I was just so excited, and it was right when I was moving or packing up all my yarn. So that's that. This one, I'm not gonna work on this one anytime soon because it just makes me sad, and I don't want to feel sad. So there's that. Then I have one that does make me really happy, and this is my one that I just knit on whenever. This is the Servion by Audrey Borrego, and I don't have much on it, but that's okay, you know? So I have knit, this is the back. So at the bottom, it is on waste yarn. Oh, you were looking at the inside. And then this is the top. So if you can kind of see that seam, that's what's gonna run on the top. So it'll look like that. It's like hard to see because I've got this like big puffy collar, but you know. So I'm now gonna knit down, and then I will eventually, I think this is my armhole, so I'll knit the same length, and then I will, I think, keep it on waist, and then I will do the same thing for this side, and then I will connect all of them and knit back and forth. That's my assumption of what I'm doing. So I really like this stitch pattern, and the yarn is a treasure because it is Hey Sister Yarn Co., who, they were so popular for like immediately when they came on the scene, and then they started their yarn business, and then they shut down. So I managed to buy yarn from their very last update, and I'm so glad I did, and it's very coveted yarn. Here it is, Hey Sister Yarn Co. This is the Sepia in their Fantastic, which I think is a merino cashmere. That one I will definitely not be frogging. I love knitting on it. The yarn is so soft. It's very special, and definitely something I would love. Did I even tell you Servion is a cardigan? It's another one of those big knitted, I mean, all of this is knitted. Just a nice, easy cardigan to throw on. So no buttons. Pretty sure no buttons. I don't want buttons on there. And my last sweater, my last sweater is in this bag, which is like what is this called? It's from Withering Sheep. It's like roly-poly bag. And okay, guys, I talked about this in one of my last podcasts. I am so far. I've blocked it. It looked okay. It actually looked pretty good. But I've decided to frog this. Yep. I'm gonna frog it. And the reason why I'm gonna frog this is because it's too loose on top compared to the bottom. Like you can even just see it, right here where it's like pleating. I've blocked this. I aggressively blocked this. This is it. It's not going to get better than this. Even though it looked okay when I put it on, it's not the way I want the sweater to fit. So I will be frogging this sweater, but I will reknit it because this is what I want. I want the sweater with this yarn. I did mention that the purple was bleeding, so I do need to be careful with the white, but that's okay. So this is the Vaki or Vaki sweater by Jenna K, and I love it. The design is great. I just bought her book from Lina. And yeah, not much else to say about it. It is kind of sad that I'm going to be frogging it, but I think I'm going to love it more. And I might do the go up a needle size for the color work and then drop down a needle size for the body here. The body is so loose, and I'm not sure if I love that or if I want it to be tighter. So I'm gonna check my gauge on this because I did not gauge swatch for this. I do know that I did not gauge swatch. So I'm just gonna kind of compare and fiddle around, and the second version is it's going to be better, right? Second version is just gonna be better. It's going to have the fit that makes sense for this sweater. The color work will be not tight on my stomach, and will match the top that is also not tight. The yarn is, I've shared this numerous times because this has been a long-standing whip on many a podcast. It is Passion Yarns in the Espresso colorway and Sand Dune. Espresso is the purple, Sand Dune is the white. Socks. I have two sock works in progress. One I just started, and then another one that I've had on the needle since 2020. It might be 2020. It is in this little bag. And this was a controversial pattern in the 52 weeks of Lina. And okay, so this is the Avena socks by Natalia Vasilyeva. And this is controversial because of the cast on that was used. I didn't notice the cast on because I generally don't read that, which does that sound elitist of me? So when I read patterns, that's not a good example. Okay, every pattern I have is a paper pattern. But essentially, like, okay. Ooh. Do you see that block of text? That's the cast on instructions. I don't read it. I look for the word cast on, or the letter CO and then the number, and that's it. I don't look at what cast on they used. I don't care what cast on they use. I use my own cast on. Same with the bind offs. Typically I don't read, if there's a paragraph with a couple sentences of how to bind off, I don't read it, which sounds maybe weird, but I didn't realize maybe isn't the right way to describe it, but it wasn't something I really noticed that I do until the conversation came about this cast on and how like whitewashing it is, and how is whitewashing even the right way to phrase this? Diminishing to anyone other than somebody who is white. So this cast on is called is it Chinese waitress? Basically, it's race job. Was the cast on, and it led to the conversations about why is it so hard to just name the cast on after the person rather than, oh, I learned it here. Because a lot of these other cast-ons and cast-offs have names. Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind-off cast-on. Judy's magic cast-on. You know, like, these are probably white people's names. And here we have a cast-on that could have easily had a name, right? And it's like, why? Why are you erasing this person? There's a lot more to that conversation. If you have been around the knitting community for a couple years, these conversations happen ongoingly, but they have culminations where a specific event will occur, and then it is brought up, and you know, it's very in your face, discussed, and all of that. I don't want to say it like gets swept under the rug. It's exhausting to be always battling, right? So you don't always see it, but I do want to call it out after spending several minutes on this, that the cast on for this has a stupid name and should have been named after the woman who came up with it. And now did anyone do the research to find out who this woman was? I'm not really sure. Needless to say, I did not recognize that when I cast on this pattern. And I did not do that cast on. I did my standard German longtail cast on, which my mom taught me. And that is how I learned to cast on. And that is pretty much the cast on I use for most everything. Yeah, so I started this sock. This is a very labor-intensive sock. It is out of the 52 Weeks of Lina. I have a crochet hook that I use when I do these like weird tuck stitches. And the pattern is very interesting. I think I'm doing like left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. And I'm currently at the part where I need to put in the heel, and I could not understand how to do the heel. So I put it on pause and I pretty much never picked it up again. I am using Addi Flexi Flips that I got in Germany, which highly recommend. Addi Flexi Flips in Germany are like 10 euros versus buying them in the United States. They're like $22, $25. So huge markup on Addi's when you purchase them in the United States. As luck would have it, my family has a house in Germany. My family is German. I am half German, and I speak German. If I have never mentioned this on the podcast, I'm sure I have. I have many a vlog while I'm in Germany. But yeah, I buy a lot of Opal yarn and Regia yarn, Schoppenwolle yarn, Sachenmeier and Addis when I'm in Germany. This is the Kabasi, which is Cotton Bamboo Silk by Haiku, and in the color 003. I have 4 skeins of this because I just did not understand how much yarn I would need, and I also originally wanted to make over the knee socks because that was a thing when I was in college. Super high over the knee socks were in style and I loved the concept, but not so much anymore. I do love like higher socks that I can then squish down over my boot, which is kind of what I was going for with these. I'm hoping that these are not too tight. Yeah, so I do want to work on these. I do want to, knit these. I need to figure out that heel and then just be done with these. So not frogging because this was a labor of love. And then the other sock that I started is just a 2x2 rib. And it is a Barocco socks I purchased, I think when I was in college. And these are going to be socks for my littlest brother. And I think I'm just going to do 2x2 through the whole sock, do the heel, and then 2x2 on the top, normal stockinette on the bottom. And yeah, I really like the color. I think it's turning out really, really nice. So I am knitting these on US size 1, which I think is a 2.25. 2.25. I knit my personal socks on size 0s, so I thought this would be nice for the boys. And I'm relatively lucky in that the boys in my family, so my dad and my 2 brothers, have small feet for boys. I think they wear size 10 and a halves. So knitting socks for my dad or my brothers isn't actually that big of a deal because their feet aren't that big. Mittens. So I kind of showed a pattern, but I am working on these poodle mittens by Jorid Lindvik. And I just started them, but I was much further earlier. So I really only have the cuff finished, and I had started these on a smaller size, and I got to, halfway done, and I just decided they were gonna just be too tight and, not great for mittens, because I feel like you want some room in your mittens. Otherwise you're just pulling the fabric and you're just making it full of holes and less beneficial. So I frogged the whole thing and I restarted. These are going to be for my mom, although I feel like I might make some for myself as well if I have leftover yarn. And the yarn I'm using is Drops. Oops, that is the sock. Yeah, so it's Drops Flora, which is an alpaca, I think. Yeah, it's 65% wool, 35% alpaca, and it is a gray and a white color. And then I've got another long-standing whip, which I'm ashamed is still on the needles. I started this in 2020 as a test knit. I know. I did the calculations, and so I gave my information for the test knit, but it's basically just a repeating pattern for a scarf, and then you kind of eliminate some of the cables. So you can see that here. So you eliminate some of the, okay. let's get here. Okay, right, so here's all the cables. And maybe that can explain why this is still on the needles. And then you eliminate some of them, like every other. And then I will eliminate all of them and it'll kind of be a modified rib. This is Oceanborn by Audrey Barriga of Yarn Flakes. This is taking me forever to knit. This takes so long. So I brought this with me to my parents for Christmas, and I had already started the modified rib plus cables, and this is all I got done. And I spent a lot of time knitting. We watched Christmas movies. We watched episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Chernobyl. I had a bit of knitting time at the end of the day. I probably spent maybe 6 hours knitting, 7 hours knitting. And like, that's it. That's all I got. So this is taking forever, but it is gorgeous. Oh, it's so pretty. Like, you can't really see the cables when it's far back. I have to, hold it up. This is yarn that I got at Hobby Lobby. It's Yarn Bee. It's called Soft and Sleek DK Low Pill Fiber in the color Irish Rain. And it's 100% acrylic. It's so soft. One skein is 114 grams and you get 478. So it says it's DK, but to me that's fingering, right? 478 yards for 114 grams. That's a DK, or that's a fingering to me. So it is taking forever, but this is going to be a beautiful scarf when I am finished. It is going to be so beautiful. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or if I'm going to give it to somebody in my life, but it's going to be so pretty. And because it's acrylic, they'll be able to just wash it, which is why I think maybe I will give it as a gift, because that would be so nice. So originally I had bought 2 skeins and I was going to do one skein as half of the scarf and then the other skein as the other half. No, this would have been so long. I mean, this is already relatively long. It's unblocked. Blocking it is going to make it even longer. And this is still the first skein, so nixed that idea. So yeah, I need to finish this. This has been one of my top priorities because I want this done. I have the pattern pretty much memorized. It's, it is going faster because of eliminating half the cables, but it still takes a lot of time, which, okay. This is in a Freckled Whimsy bag. Oh, so cute. And is that everything before? Yeah. Okay, so the last 2 knitted items are patterns I'm designing myself that have been on the needles for a very, very, very long time. So I have this idea of doing a Henry VIII's wives shawl collection, and then doing a sock collection and then a hat collection to match them. And I was starting with Catherine of Aragon. No. Who was I starting with? No, it wasn't Catherine of Aragon. Now I can't even remember who I had decided I was starting with. Either way, this is how much I've gotten. I've undone this. I have reknit it. Clearly it looks like nothing, but it's a crescent shaped shawl. And my plan was to have lace flowers, like a panel of lace flowers, very delicate. So I couldn't get the flowers to look right. And I think I will do so much better. I have taken a couple classes on designing and dimensions of shawls and ways to increase and stuff. So I feel like I just need to sit down and work it out on paper and then do like a miniature version of it, just to make sure that my math is right and that it looks like what I want it to look, and then make a bigger version. And my plan was to knit everything out of Knit Picks palette so that it would all be affordable. Now, I wonder if maybe I shouldn't just do Knit Picks palette, because I think Knit Picks really only ships to the US and Canada. So I might do like one out of Knit Picks and then one out of Drops, maybe another one out of Hobby, just like the affordable yarns that everyone can get for the most part. So that was kind of my idea. I do have a notebook where I have drawn out several of the shawls, the concepts that I wanted. And then I also was branching out to like the children. And yeah, I love royalty. Not the current monarchy. I like historical monarchy, because I feel like that's where it should be. I feel like monarchies should be historical and not in the 21st century, but maybe that's a hot take. You know, I don't think anyone is born to do something. You are elected to do it because you are the right person for that job. But anyway, so that's not to say I don't love Kate Middleton. I do really like Kate Middleton. I also think her youngest son is bonkers hilarious. In my head, it's the German word frech is what I think of when I see him. Like, he is so frech. So, which I think, would that best translate to ornery? Maybe. I don't know. The way that German works in my head is kind of confusing, because when I hear the German word, I don't think of that means blank in English. I get a feeling of what it means. Does that make sense? Are any of you, anyone else that is bilingual or trilingual or whatever, and it wasn't something that you learned in school, but it's like you grew up with that language? Like, does anyone else get that feeling? Like, when I hear German being spoken, I'm not translating it in my head. I am understanding it as it's coming at me. Now, there are some words that I don't understand, but you kind of just use context clues. But yeah, anyway, that was a whole tangent. But essentially, that's what this shawl is. I will probably frog it because that's how designing works. But yes, that is still a thing that I want to do. Still happening. Next one is also a shawl that I am designing, and I love this bag. This is from Hannah-Lisa Haferkampf. She no longer does these bags. She has a completely different business now called Making Stories, which I have tested many, many, many times. But this is a shawl design that looks like this. And I think, I think when I block it, it's gonna look better, but it's a elongated crescent, and it's kind of weird the way I decided to knit this. But anyway, so this is the front, and it has welts on the edges, and I called it Weltington. And so I just have to do the other end, but I've been kind of thinking about if I like the way that I knit this, or if I'm going to adjust how I do the increases, decreases, because they are they're not the way that you would think and how most scarves are knit. or shawls are knit, in my head at least, because the wrong side is actually the right side. And it's just the way that I was knitting it. So I'm kind of thinking of maybe doing that a little bit different, or maybe it's okay, you know, maybe that's fine. So that's that. The yarn is, I don't think I have, it's like Boone something. They rebranded because they were doing pretty much only Harry Potter colorways. They rebranded, and yeah, so this is a, you know, a shawl that I would love to have this one out because I think the concept is really cool. The goal or the thought behind it was you could use minis to do the welts, and you would have welts on both the wrong side and the right side. You could do them clustered. You could do them wherever you wanted. I was going to add instructions on how to do the welts, but I feel like Stephen West does a ton of welts, which I've never knit a Stephen West pattern. I have never seen how he does his welts. I came up with this idea many years ago, and then it was all over the place. So then I kind of felt bad because I was like, I'm not copying, but you know what? Nothing's original. Nothing's original. So I would love to have this one out. And I also want to use this project bag for other things, because when I see this project bag, all I think about is the test knit, because that's all that's ever been in here. Okay, we are at an hour. Those are all the knitted projects I have on my whips that I'm carrying into 2023. But I do want to really quickly touch base on the needlework, because yes, there is needlework. I don't think I cross-stitched at all in 2022. So I need to change that for 2023. I have this needlepoint kit that I would love to work on and finish. And it doesn't have a name, but I'm just gonna call it Angler Girl. And this is by Odd Anna Stitch. And I think you can get it on Etsy. She's got a website. Yeah, Etsy, Odd Anna Stitch, which is down there. I got this for my birthday a couple years ago. I would love to finish this and put it up on the wall in my craft room. And then I have Jack Frost Tree Farm by Little House Needleworks, part 1, the Jack Frost, which is the banner top portion. I am going to cross stitch all of them together on one fabric, and lo and behold, this is what I have done. Yep, so much. This, and I started this while watching was it the debates, or was it when the votes were being counted? Or was it the January 6th insurrection? It was one of those. It was a political reason that I just randomly was like, you know what I need? Cross stitch. But because to me, cross stitching feels like a coloring book. This is Picture This Plus 28 count Wren, and I paid $28 for it. It is a big piece. It's a 19 by 25.5 inches. So should definitely fit my Jack Frost on there. And then I thought I was gonna do so much better on this. It is in my Orange Theory bag. You know, I had to bring up Orange Theory somehow in this video. This is my Under the Sea Club by Frosted Pumpkin. And I have a big problem with this. Didn't I start? Wait, are you kidding me? I thought I started this. I didn't start it at all. So this is not even this doesn't even count. Great. I have a problem with this, and it is that so I purchased this with, I purchased this through PayPal. My PayPal account, the user ID is connected to my OU college email address, which has been deleted. So I didn't delete it. I just logged in and all of the emails are gone. All the emails are gone, which is a problem because they email you the pattern. So all of my frosted pumpkin patterns that I have purchased are gone, which makes me value Ravelry so much, because with Ravelry, I buy it and it forever sits in my Ravelry library. I don't have to print it, download it, save it somewhere externally. I don't have to do any of that. And yeah, with my cross stitching, I have an issue because I bought several frosted pumpkin stitchery patterns that I now no longer have anymore. So, and it's been years. I've been collecting them, and I don't, is that like weird for me to email them and explain the situation? I'm going to do it for this one because the last clue I think came out this month, and I was gonna go print all of them and I can't. So I am gonna send them an email. I'm sure they have it in their records that they've been sending it to a specific email, and you know, they'll be able to see that it's a college email address. Like it says ohio.edu. So unfortunately that's the situation with that. So yeah, I was also missing a couple of the DMC threads and the fancy floss because everybody in the cross stitching community like got this kit, which was funny because I went to a cross stitch store to buy the thread and they were kind of like annoyed about it. Like they were like not very pleasant about all of the thread being sold out and everyone wanting the same colors. And I just was like, shouldn't you be happy that people are cross stitching? I think cross stitching more than knitting is not as popular, and even less young people cross stitch, I think. You know, that's my own opinion, but I think even less 20s and 30s are cross stitching. So, you know, it did kind of leave a kind of like, I'm confused why you're angry that people are buying your thread. But you know what? It is what it is. So with that, this is a very long video. Those are all the whips that I'm bringing into 2023 and the ones I would like to finish in 2023. My priorities are going to be, my priorities, I would like to finish the 2x2 socks relatively soon so that I can just send them to my brother as a random gift. Out of the garments, the priority of what I'm going to do is frog my Vaki sweater, and then do the Missoni accomplished. And I already talked through why, but I need to watch some videos before I can finish that. But I think that will be the order of things that I do. And the poodle mittens are high priority, and Oceanborn scarf because I just want to be done with that. I am not loving the knitting process, but the project is going to be gorgeous. And of course, I want to make a more concerted effort to finish my cross stitches and finish them. Like, I still have the one with the sheep that I finished, but I didn't final finish it. Like, it's not framed or anything. So thank you if you have watched the entire video. I appreciate it. Let me know what projects you have that you're going to be bringing into 2023 and what you're hoping to finish. Do you also have a ton of projects like I do, or do you tend to be monogamous, or what I used to do, which is one project per category? So one sock, one shawl, scarf, one hat, one sweater. And I really need to get back to that. and it's just gonna take clearing my needles, but I am in love with so much that I have, and I'm so looking forward to casting on new things. There are certain sweaters that I keep thinking about, like my cardamom sweater that I would knit with my Angora yarn. Like, I'm still thinking about that sweater and how much I really want that, and how much I hope that the Angora will work with that stitch pattern. That'll definitely be something I need to look into. Yeah, so thank you so much, and I hope your 2022 crafting life was great, and I hope your 2023 crafting life is fantastic, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!